Hi y'all, and welcome back to Tim's Kitchen. Today we're going to be preparing some salmon for brown sugar soy smoked salmon. You want to prepare it the night before and let it marinate, or at least 8 hours before, so you can make it in the morning to smoke or bake later that evening. So let's get started. We are going to start with wild Alaskan sockeye salmon. I recommend always going with wild caught, fresh salmon. I never use farm raised if at all possible. Simple. You don't want to overpower your salmon. Brown sugar soy is just a really good complement to the salmon itself. A lot of recipes you'll find have like ginger and garlic and lemon, salt, and pepper, but we have this beautiful cut of fresh salmon here. You notice the pink and the salmon, the way it is on this, and compared to like a farm raised, like totally natural. Oh, it smells good. So I am going to rinse this off with cold water. And then we're going to pat it dry. I'm just going to let this dry, paper towels, while we mix up the marinade. Just soak up all that water. That way the marinade will have a chance to soak into it. We're not going to add any water or anything to our marinade. And you'll see that this will just melt in your mouth tomorrow. So, let that dry, wash your hands. So we're going to take soy sauce, and I always use the low sodium, whatever brand you want. I just happen to have Kikkoman. I'm going to do 1/3 of a cup soy sauce, and then I just take the pour spout right out of there, so it will actually pour out. So 1/3 cup soy sauce. 1/2 cup brown sugar. I like to use the dark brown sugar. Anytime you're measuring brown sugar, make sure to pack it. Pack your brown sugar. I'm just going to toss it. Going to whisk it together. We're only going to use half of the marinade at this time. And we're going to keep the skin on this. Kind of coat it on there and rub it in. I just want to make sure to get every inch of this coated with some of this. Now from here you can either put it in a Ziploc bag, dump the rest of this on there, wrap it, cover your tin or your cookie sheet if you want. You can wrap it in saran wrap. I am going to use my food saver, and I find this is the best way to marinate your meat, good flavor, and not worry about it leaking all over the fridge. And see, we patted it dry, so it just soaked that right up. So we're going to put it in there. Then take the rest of our marinade and dump it right in there. And keep all the juice at one end. because it's gonna suck it up when we put it in here. Put it on the moist setting. And just once that's done, just check your ends. Make sure that you've got a good seal on there, because you can hit the seal button and stick it back in there. Sometimes if you get a lot of juices at the end, it won't get a proper seal all the way. You'll have a small leak. That's why I kept all the juices at one end. Now we can just like that, and then I'm going to flip it upside down on this end so that all the juices are on the meat side, and it's just going to soak in there. We're going to let it marinate all night, and we will smoke that tomorrow. Okay folks, so we marinated the salmon last night in brown sugar and soy, vacuum sealed it. I just cut it open and I dumped out the juices, and we're just going to let that sit there and kind of dry out for a minute. I also have been soaking a cedar plank for about 2 hours. They come a little bit longer, at least this one did, than my smoker itself. So I just cut it down and sanded the edges yesterday. And I just like to put it on a cedar plank. You can put it on a sheet or just foil, like wrap one of your in the smoker with foil, and that'll work just fine. I just like to use a cedar plank, it's easier. So, but first we're going to start with the wild rice. So I'm going to make my version of, well, I call it Tim's wild rice. It's kind of like Uncle Ben's wild rice, but it's not, because it's my wild rice. I guess it could be Uncle Tim's wild rice. I am technically an uncle, so I'm going to start out with adding, I want to do the water ratio depending on the rice that you're using, because all the rices are different. So I'm using a Minnesota wild rice, which needs 1.5 cups of water, and then 1 cup of brown rice, which takes 2 cups of water, so I have 3.5 cups of water. The wild rice takes a half an hour longer than the brown rice, so we're going to start off with that first and set a timer, and then we'll add the brown rice later. So we're going to put the 3.5 cups of water in there. I got a new fun tool today from leveling measuring utensils. It's pretty cool. Scoop it in there. Dream Farm. You can go straight to the website or Amazon because you get free shipping. So anyway, we are going to add a whole bunch of stuff to this. So I'm going to start out with 1 tablespoon of chicken base. I like to use the Better Than Bouillon brand. Has a lot less sodium than the other stuff, and I don't like the dry bouillon cubes. So we're just going to put that right in the water, like so. And then 1 tablespoon of Better Than Bouillon beef base. Put that right in there. We have 2 tablespoons of Lee and Perrins Worcestershire sauce, or however you want to pronounce it. If you can't pronounce it, just say, "What's this here sauce?" really quick. What's this here sauce? No. You have 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, ground up allspice. 1/4 teaspoon of ground up coriander. 1/4 teaspoon of cumin. 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. 1/2 teaspoon of granulated garlic powder. 1 1/2 teaspoon of, or sorry, excuse me, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of Lawry's seasoned salt, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of ground pepper, fresh ground pepper, and then the juice from 1/2 of a lemon. And if you just squeeze it into your hand, you should be able to catch any seeds that were to come through. Squeeze that out really good on all the juices from that. And we'll just put all of our seeds and stuff in there. Now, I don't like to use like olive oil or butter in there, so I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. Gives it some really good flavor too, and it's healthy. And then we're going to add the 1/2 a cup of Minnesota wild rice. So we're going to turn this on, get it going. I'm going to wait till it gets hot to start the timer, so we're going to come back and check that in about 5 minutes and give it a good stir. So I'll set the timer for 5 minutes. Cook time on this rice altogether is about 1 hour and 5 minutes, so it does take a little while. In the meantime, I have started the smoker outside. I don't like to use wood chips because you have to keep refilling it, and I found this thing on Amazon. It's called like an amazing smoker, easy smoker. They have different kinds, and the way you do it is you fill it up with the pellets, take a torch, you light it. It's kind of like a candle. You'll get it burning like that and let it go for about 10 minutes. It's been going for a little while. It actually had blown out, so that should be ready to go. You want the smoker at about around 225 degrees. So I was smoking pork the other day. It's about 250. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit, and we'll go get the salmon ready. See how well that's smoking? Smoking really well. And if it goes out, you can just blow in it and get the fire going again. I think the best thing about these is it'll smoke for hours and you don't have to worry about it. They have another one you can get that I use for longer smokes. Each one of these runs here is supposed to go for about 4 hours, so you can get about a 12-hour smoke out of there. You can also do this recipe in the oven, but I prefer the smokiness. You can also smoke it on your grill if you would like. Just get one of those things of pellets and put it in there, and you'll want to get the smoke going, get the grill to about 225 degrees, and then you would put it on a plank or whatever on the top rack. You don't want to put it right on the heat. So we're going to take the salmon, and you don't have to worry about getting the cedar plank messy or anything because it's just going in the smoker. We're just going to place it right on top of there. And then what I like to do is take a little bit more of the brown sugar and put it on top, and then it just kind of like melts all over it as it's cooking. Just kind of rub it all over there. Puts a really nice glaze on it too. And then I use an iGrill. You want to bring it to 145 degrees. You don't want to overcook it. It'll be really dry. We will add water to the water pan inside the smoker. So you just kind of want to like shove it through the meatiest part of your salmon. Right through the middle there. So part of cooking is multitasking. I was trying to do just one recipe at a time. That's impossible because I'm never cooking one thing at a time. So I just decided I'd show you guys complete meals. So the timer is going off for the 5 minutes we set for the rice, just to get it nice and hot. It's getting there. So we're gonna put the lid on there, set the timer for 30 minutes. And after that 30 minutes, we will add the brown rice. Okay, so we got the grill about perfect. It's about 225, so we're gonna open it up and stand back. I like to use just a flouring water pot to put water into my water pan. To place this on the top rack. And this just should fit right in there. Then we're gonna feed this to the back vent hole and then plug it in the probe into the eye grill. And we'll go grab the wood pellet. Now this thing gets very hot, so try not to touch anywhere up there. I usually try and grab some gloves. And we're just going to place this right under the meat. And we're going to close it. And then I've set my iGrill Mini to go off at 145 degrees. So we have been cooking the rice for 30 minutes. I'm going to stop the timer and stand back when you take that lid off. That steam is hot and it smells awesome, quite delicious. So we're going to add of our brown rice. I like to use the all natural. You can use whatever kind of brown rice you want. Some of the brown rices, like the Uncle Ben's or the generic ones, they use. Sometimes they only need to cook for 20 minutes. This is the basmati Indian brown rice, so it cooks for 35 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. So we're going to set that timer for another 30 minutes. All right, perfect. Along with this, we're also going to be making some broccoli. But that only takes a couple minutes, so we'll deal with that here in a little bit. Timer is going off for the salmon. Just gonna come outside and grab the salmon out of the smoker here real quick. So we're just gonna take the probe out of there, unplug it. I don't like to mess with the dial because I like to keep my temperature setting because I pretty much use the same temperature most of the time. And we're gonna stand back. If you open up one of these grates, it'll keep that open for you. That looks amazing. So we're just going to pull that out of there, and we're going to keep it in there because we don't want to pull it out and let the juices drain, because we're not going to mess with that. We're going to let it sit for at least 5 minutes. Patience is key. We are going to take this back inside and get the broccoli going. So I'm just going to set this just inside the oven for now, just to keep it out of the way. And we're going to stick our broccoli in the microwave. But first, so I've just got some broccoli florets that have been rinsed and chopped. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of white pepper. I like to use white pepper on all of my vegetables. Dash of water, not much because I'm going to steam. And then same as with all my other veggies, I'm just going to cover it with a microwave safe non-plastic bowl, and we will stick it in the microwave for 5 minutes. And usually it's done in about 5 minutes. You can test it, cook it to your liking. Some people like a little crispier, some people like it a little softer, but it's generally around 5 minutes. So we'll start that while that's resting, and we'll check the rice. Looks like we got about 3 minutes left on the rice. So looks like the water cooked out of there. It feels like it's good. So I'm actually going to turn it to warm and just let that set for a little bit while everything finishes up, and it should be good to go. One rule of thumb I like to follow in the kitchen is clean as you go. So as I've been doing all this, I've been cleaning up, washing some stuff by hand, and wash while hot. If anything's hot that you like cooked something on the skillet, or especially like macaroni and cheese, anything with cheese or rice and eggs, try to wash those pans right away, because then you're going to avoid scrubbing, and anything with eggs or anything, it just gets worse. Dishwasher. Patience is the key in the kitchen. You want to have patience. Don't eat your meat right away, especially like steaks and chicken and stuff like that. You need to give it 5 to 10 minutes for all those juices to work its way back up into the center, so you get that nice, tender, juicy meat. So time is up on the rice. It's been 3 minutes. We had turned it to warm a little bit ago. We can go ahead and just unplug that and turn it off and let it sit. That stuff will stay hot for quite some time. So even if you had like 10 minutes, 15 even left on your main dish, meat or vegetables, you can unplug that and just let it, it'll just get better as it sits. We got about 28 seconds, 27, 26, 25 seconds left on the broccoli, and then we'll give it a try and see how it looks, or see how it tastes. I like it. There's a little bit of crisp to it, not soggy, but not, I don't want it like crunchy on the stems, you know what I mean? So once again, that's to your liking. And if you haven't tried it with the white pepper, I would recommend doing that. It's my favorite. It's different than any other type of pepper out there, and it just adds a great flavor. I don't add any salt or anything else. That's all I need on my vegetables. It's just that white pepper. It's delicious. I'm just going to pull this out of here now, and oh, it smells delicious. It's got that great smoky flavor, or smoky smell to it. I'm sure it has the flavor as well. That's another reason to use the cedar, and you just get a little bit more flavor. And if all you had was the cedar plank and you put it in the grill, it would be great. That's why you soak it for at least 2 hours to make sure it's nice and moist, so it doesn't start to burn, or it'll get hot and start to crackle and pop, and you don't want that. So, and look at that. It's just, it looks fantastic. So the rice is done, the broccoli is done, the fish is done. Let's serve this up. I'm going to take the salmon, cut off as big as a piece as you want, and remember the skin is on there, so just going to cut there and then just slide it. And then you can, I usually leave the backing on, the skin on. You can peel it off later, or if you just flip it over, it'll just peel off the back there. And you can use a fork or whatever you want. The flakier salmon gets, the drier it is. So if it's too flaky, then it's been overcooked. That's why I have the thermometer in there. We got our salmon. Gonna get some rice. And then no meal is complete without your vegetables. And we'll test this here for you in a minute. My wife is starving and she needs to feed the baby, so I'm gonna get her dinner really quick, guys. Hi guys, so this is my son Aiden, and he was getting a little fussy, but my wife needs to eat, so we're going to let her eat and keep him company. So as you can see, it did turn out really good. The rice I tried and it's perfect. It's got great flavor. The brown and the wild rice, it kind of has like a nuttiness to it. It's just the broccoli is perfectly cooked and flavored, and the salmon is just amazing. It kind of melts in your mouth, Has a great smoky flavor. The soy sauce and the brown sugar really make it pop. Definitely something you guys got to try. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask or tell. And I hope to see you guys again next time on Tim's Kitchen. Maybe we'll let him cook next time. What do you think, Aiden? What do you have to say? He's shocked. It's so good. I mean, what else can we say?